Positivity, gratitude, optimism, and love also create certainty. And it's 10 times more powerful.
How people treat you, really, the vast majority of the time, has nothing to do with you.
We've teased about it a couple times now. And this thing that I hear from others, maybe not in the same form and fashion, sometimes it's an eye roll. Sometimes it's a deep sigh of, I don't want to talk about it because I don't want to hear how you're going to think about it because you're going to not let me feel bad about it. And so you've talked about this little TJ on your shoulder a little bit. And, you know, it's sometimes meant as a perspective shift, but it's also kind of like a reminder for you. Because I know you well enough to know that you live in a growth mindset, you're in a positive headspace and all the different things, but you also have all of the types of days.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so talk to me a little bit about, you know, kind of your gratitude journey, if you will, kind of how it kind of started. Cause it's not like you didn't know about it before I came into your life. You knew about it and it was always something there for you. And so kind of talk to me a little bit about how that's played a role for you, but then also this, now that we've talked about it a couple times, is TJ on your shoulder moments and you know, how that plays a role in your life.
Yeah. No, it's very real. And it really gets to your earlier comment, which I didn't want to get away from. So it's kind of a nice segue back is, you know, you're really, in many ways, a meet one person where they are kind of guy, right? Like any podcast, any moment, anything, any speaking engagement, if you can reach one person, if you can get one person to put the proverbial TJ on their shoulder, that's a win, right? And then candidly, what you're doing is you're then sort of, by doing that, creating all of these other people that are going to start doing the same thing for other people. And then it just really becomes this kind of, you know, beautiful pandemic, if you will, is that people are just trying to live very much in a grateful space. No, certainly being grateful was not something you taught me a decade ago, but I will say that you really have impacted how I've operationalized it, right? Like, again, I grew up a very poor kid in a very poor area. Now, I really didn't know that. And you've heard me talk about this. Like, I didn't know that because I looked around and sort of everyone kind of looked like me and acted like me. But then you start sort of stepping out in life, right? And I always use this example. I grew up in a town that when I lived there, a town that had 168 people in it, right? That was my hometown. I was just back there a couple weeks ago and it's still, you know, very small, but you have those moments in life when you're sitting in like your first management 202 class in University of Missouri, Columbia, and there are 500 people in this room. And you're sitting back going, this is 3 times more than the people in my town, right?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And you just find these places and moments in life where it just gets really big. And you probably don't think you should be there or you deserve to be there. And this gets to that sort of imposter syndrome you're talking about, right? So we all find those moments where it materializes or it's real. And then you start going, oh no, listen, I'm grateful to even be in that management 202 class. I'm grateful to have gotten this first degree. I'm grateful to have gotten this big girl job where people granted me access to people and a budget. And you know, you just have these moments where you're always kind of comparing where you are to where you came from. And how can you not, I think, live in a space of just gratefulness and gratitude? So I knew it, right? I was always living that kind of grateful life. And I did come from this father of which you speak, who was just very like optimistic. I mean, almost annoyingly so. Like, you're like, really? You know, so I think I became a very, and probably still am very much a pragmatic person, which is where my TJ Sweet internal dialogue occurs all the time, right? Pragmatism meets optimism and gratefulness. But I think what you taught me was like, no, this is really something you have to do every day. And I think it first started with your first book for me, where you were really sort of, you know, forcing us, right, in your way, in your approach to say, oh, stop the world every day. Read this piece, write down 3 things you're grateful for, and do it again tomorrow. And of course, let's be honest, we don't always do that every day. So we may sit down for the week, grab a Saturday morning cup of coffee. Now I've got 21 things I have to write down just to catch up. And I think when you do that, then you're like, okay, check. I've checked a box, I'm done. But it's more than that, right? So you sort of gave me the baby steps to quantify this, to operationalize this. And then it just really becomes easier. But what happens as a result of actively practicing it is you're in conflict, right? Like you're in traffic and you're having an and I call it sweet tea. Now, you know why I call it sweet tea, because that's what your email address used to be, right? Many, many years ago, which I thought was hilarious. It was sweet tea in your address. And I always say, okay, this is a great opportunity for a sweet tea moment, and I'm about to blow it, right? So it could be traffic, it could be a bad moment, it could be a bad day, it could be a very poor response, because I do pride myself in being really calculated in how I respond, purposeful in how I respond. Now, that may not be at all, that is usually counterintuitive to what's probably going on the inside, right? Sure. And that's where this disconnect comes. So those are sweet tea moments for me. So it started with traffic, right? So I'm always trying to get somewhere and, driving in cities all the time and things. And I'd be like, oh, I know I should respond better to this, or I know I should be doing better to this. And I was always just kind of picture this TJ Sweet or this sweet tea on my shoulder as kind of this check and this reality moment. And yeah, it's become really funny. And I even told you recently that while I may not necessarily watch all of your podcasts the days they come out, I will get to all of them. But there's been a couple of them recently. And this gets to timing, right? This is timing. Timing when I reach out to you in a moment when you're down randomly, timing when you reach out to me. This is beyond us. This is purposeful stuff, right? This happens for a reason. There have been a couple lately where you've just slayed me. You've just stopped me in my tracks.
Yeah.
Slayed me, reached me, caught me. It's not just TJ on the shoulder. It's like TJ with a bat to the head. And you're like, oh, okay, I got it, right? I got it. But I know I need those times. I know I need to see it the way you're telling me to see it. And this gets to timing, right? Like I may have heard that message 2 or 3 times, but the third time it hit. And that had a lot to do with what was going on with me and where I was at the time. And that's why it's so important for you. And I've always been so proud of you to really think, I just need to reach one person on a podcast, one person a day with the book, one person in a speaking engagement. If I can do that, I've done my thing. Well, I believe now you're reaching far, far more people than that on a daily basis. And you're creating people, myself included, who circle back and tell you how you've impacted them. You told me a couple of those this morning, myself included. And then you're just creating sort of these gratitude warriors, if you will. And that is a phenomenal, phenomenal place to be. So yeah, once you start actively practicing this, you become your own policing mechanism. And over the years, it's been a historic TJ Sweet on my shoulder. So yeah, he's alive and well. Yeah. He's there all the time. He really is.
It never stops. Just keeps coming. Yeah. Yeah. Well, and you brought up a point that I hope people kind of relate to, and they probably will, but this conflict and maybe like it resonated with me of like an aha moment of with all of the other things, negative things, stressful things, adversity, the challenges, maybe this gratitude practice, this presence, this focusing on habits, this focusing on being at peace, some of that is actually, it's a really hard place to be when you're in the other.
100%.
But when it becomes more than a practice and it becomes more of who you are instead of just something you wrote down in the morning, you then are prepared for the things that we can't control.
Absolutely.
And so it is conflict. So that I'm going to wander off into a space someday and talk about this because you just brought up a great point that it's not about like right now. Sometimes it's not about having people think in a positive way. I'm just trying to get some of them back to neutral.
100%.
Neutral meaning I want you to see everything.
Right.
But our brains are wired for negativity. It's a survival instinct.
Yeah.
And we look for things that are bad, that are negative. But the thing about it is it creates certainty. Negativity creates certainty. Now, we all crave certainty. Now, little sneak TJ on the shoulder moment, positivity, gratitude, optimism, and love also create certainty. And it's 10 times more powerful than anything negative that could ever happen. But we give so much energy and focus to the negative that if we're willing to see that and shift the other direction, it prepares you for those moments. It doesn't eliminate the moments. It doesn't, it's not like all of a sudden you're in a bubble and those moments don't happen for you. But what happens is those moments are just moments. They're not days and months and years of feeling that way.
Absolutely.
But it also, for me, one of the biggest things that has really impacted me is it's prepared me to handle those things with intention and respond instead of react
100%.
to those moments. And, full transparency, we just had dinner a week ago, a couple of days, feels like less than that. But anyway, and when you start to recognize the impact of making somebody feel seen, and this is kind of what we do everywhere. We've had a couple opportunities to be out in public. And again, we occasionally schedule dinners, but we were at dinner at a place. Do you care if I talk about the moment? No. Okay. Please. It's just such a cool thing. So we were at dinner and it was incredibly busy. They didn't have a lot of servers, and our server literally came sprinting by and didn't even know that we were sitting at one of her tables. And she paused and came back with waters, and she was overwhelmed. And if we talk about helping people feel seen all the time, this is one of those moments. And she comes back with water. She asks us if we want something to drink. We may or may not have gotten something to drink, and we did. And so then she's typing in what we wanted, and I just paused and I looked at her and I said, "How are you?" And every time we go out to dinner, we always call her the hostess, the waiter, the waitress, the bartender, whatever. We call them by their name because we know that there's somebody.
Sure.
So we asked her her name. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about her, so I won't. But she told us her name. We then called her by that name. And I just said, "How are you?" And she looked up. She's like, "What?" Shari says, "How are you?" And her whole energy shifted.
Yep.
She slowed down. She told us that they were shorthanded, that she was stressed. And we just said, we're just enjoying time. It's fine. And then she came back over a couple times when we didn't even need anything throughout the rest of the meal. I was like, "I just want to hang out with you guys." She's like, "You're amazing people." Right. And we didn't do it to get anything from her.
No.
And this is kind of that, like, how it becomes who you are moment is why I'm sharing this story.
Sure.
Because she recognized none of her other tables are treating her that way. Everybody's getting the same level of service, I'm sure. But kind of how you show up for other people really makes a lot, especially for some, she's in her young 20s. So then as we go through our meal, she just says, "Thank you. You're so kind," like to both of us. And, we're giving advice to her about different things. And then at the end, she comes up with 2 little chocolate mousse glasses with like a dollop of whipped cream on it. And she's like, "I'm trying to repay us," right? She's like, "Here, you guys have been so kind. We haven't even paid her. We haven't tipped her. We haven't anything at this point."
Yeah.
But it's just when you make people feel seen, it matters.
Yeah.
But she also knew we weren't doing it to get anything from her.
Yeah.
And it felt completely normal to you. And like, as she walked away and she gave the mousse and she was like, I thought she was going to grab a chair and just hang out with us. But it was one of those moments to where we just looked at each other and said, "This is what it's all about."
Yeah.
And she's the one person that day that benefited from everything that you and I've been through, everything we've learned, everything we've read, because we could have easily been mad that she didn't come by.
Yeah. Those other
She didn't come by fast enough, right? We could have been all the other things, but it didn't even cross our minds. And so if you are one of those people that find yourself really short-tempered or irritated or impatient, the thing that may actually help you treat people the way that you actually want to treat them may be some of this gratitude and this presence and this peace and having real conversation and real connection with people. Because both of us felt energy in a positive way the whole meal.
Yeah.
She added to it. She'll probably, I don't know if she'll remember it or not, but it's just one of those moments to where it's like, that's what we are here to do as people. I mean, it's called humankind. Like humankind is actually that how we can move back closer to that, making these random acts of kindness not so random, and just opening a door for somebody the other day. I forget. It wasn't even open the door. It was at Walmart. This person, she had her hands full. I picked up her basket and put it away. You would have thought I saved her life. She looked at me and said, "A real gentleman." The Walmart employee at self-checkout, that's like 32 self-checkouts and one Walmart employee right now. She turned and she was like, "You never see gentlemen anymore."
Yeah.
And I just thought, the bar.
Oh,
Let's just see each other a little bit more often. But it starts with seeing yourself and being at peace with yourself. Because if you're constantly frantically and scrambling, like we've talked about, if you're just frayed, it's really hard to offer that up.
right, right. No, paying it forward is real. It's real.
Yep.
It's not just something we say. It's very real. And kindness is real, and it doesn't take much. And you're so right. Like what you get back is tenfold what you give. And then you just start wanting to do that. Particularly now, particularly in today's world, today's environment. And I think that's why, candidly, the bar is so low for kindness that even when you do the bare minimum, you just get so much of a high from it, having done it, but also just watch people change. I mean, I think I told her this story. I mean, when I was going through law school, I worked a lot of cocktailing and waitressing and, was really good at it and made a lot of money at it. And candidly, I always say it took me a long time to make more money doing anything else because I was particularly service-minded. So I've been there and I know what it's like to encounter people that are just not happy. And it really has nothing to do with you. And that was one of the messages we shared with her, right? It's like how people treat you, really the vast majority of the time has nothing to do with you. But you can internalize it and you can respond to it either positively or negatively. And that's the game changer, right? Like, and I talk to myself about this a lot, my teams about this a lot. I mean, we do not have to be excitable. Let's not be excitable. Let's be calm. Let's be cool. Let's be collected. And if you think about that in a compliance environment in particular, right? Everything's on fire. Nothing's really going well. People aren't genuinely sitting in meetings with you asking you how you are. So you're really in this excitable space. So it's super easy to go with people there. And I always just tell my team, let's not do that. Let's be different. Let's not go there. Let's keep it calm. But I think it starts to get rather addictive when you start doing that with people. Obviously, I travel a lot. I'm on airplanes. I'm leaving tomorrow. I'm on an airplane tomorrow. Speaking to the people that check you in, that take your bags. Good morning. How are you today? Have a great day. I always thank the pilot, particularly nowadays.
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah. Get on his good side.
Thank you.
Get him in a good mood.
Thank you when you're going on. Thank you when you're going off. Flight attendants.
Yeah.
I mean, just anyone dealing with the public. Oh my goodness. I was at a restaurant the other day where I gave a really genuine tip, and she actually ran out behind me and she said, "Ma'am, you left too much." And I said, "No, I really didn't." And she's like, "Oh my God, thank you." Just getting to bless people, whatever that looks like, not only fuels the world, but again, tenfold back to you. And if you're a religious mindset person, you're a spiritual person, reap so, karma, whatever drives you. It is a positive space that you're in and you reap from that. But back to, controlling yourself and self-regulation, right? That's really what we're talking about. Is gratefulness is hard. I'm not always grateful. I'm not always in the space I want to be. But I'm always usually pretty good at, by the end of the day, kind of processing it all, packaging it all, and just saying, you know what? Excuse my rural Missouri vernacular. It doesn't suck to be me. Right? Keep that in perspective, that most of what I'm dealing with on a daily basis is largely inconvenient first world problems. And I think that you need to live there, right? Not that you're superior to anyone. You're just living in your space. And if you can sort of clean it all up at the end of the day, get some rest and come right back at it, that really is the best mindset, I think. And that's what gratitude has done for me. Letting go what you don't control, letting go what isn't about you, focusing on you first, right? That adage, when you're on an airplane, first thing they tell you is put the oxygen on you. Therefore, you can take care of others. And I think particularly mothers, particularly wives, particularly daughters, sisters, women, right? We're innate caregivers, and we will give to just the point of depletion and never think, oh, wait, no, I need to feel myself first. I need to take care of me first. And there's many ways we do that, right? But gratitude is one of them. I think it's an underused resource and tool that we really can quickly get our minds around. And it's really addictive at the end of the day. I'm a believer.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and so much of it
as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I had one of my good friends, Cliff. He's very witty, trustworthy, but he also loves a good joke. So I never really know. But he said, I finally figured out why you love this gratitude thing so much. And I said, oh yeah. And he's already kind of in a heightened state of mind as well. Mm-hmm. And he said, yeah, and then he said, it's more selfish than I thought. He goes, I thought you were doing this for other people. And then this is all via text message, of which I was like, okay, what are we getting at here? And he said, he does it all the time. And he said, he now realizes how good it feels for him. Mm-hmm. And then he had a light bulb moment and thought, this guy's doing this because he wants to feel good. He's not doing this to help other people, but he's also one of my biggest supporters and encouragers and all the things, but it is one of those things to where, and again, some of the episodes that we've released recently and some different things around what we say we want versus what we're choosing. And it's like we all love those moments when we know we're doing something important and significant in other people's lives. And sometimes resources aren't as ubiquitous as we'd like.
Sure.
Sometimes we don't have as much money as we like. Maybe the tip can't be as much as we want, whatever the thing is. Mm-hmm. But like I've just said, the interaction we had with the waitress, we hadn't tipped her yet. And and she literally said the words, changed her whole night. Mm-hmm. And so maybe people listening, maybe you and your kindness, maybe just listening, maybe not judging somebody, maybe encouraging somebody that costs you nothing, but to someone else, it means everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's so much to, when you had kind of talked about, it's good to be me, it's good to be us, some of those things. The thing about gratitude that's really impacted my life is how much is enough. Because we kind of take ourselves with us everywhere. And so whether you make $25,000 a year or $2.5 million a year, how much is enough? And how you think about it, because how you treat the few is how we're going to treat the many. And this is exactly kind of what we've talked about a couple of times around one person at a time. Because if one person doesn't mean enough to know that it's significant, then a million won't either. And again, you've taught me that, you've shown me that. And, sometimes you've been the one person I think that actually listens to some of these things and hears some of these things. But it's also, I see you do it all the time, and we were in traffic with each other a couple months ago and a car almost hit us. And you didn't even blink. Yeah. You were just like, yeah, right? Like, we're good. So
which is huge for me.
Yeah. Well, now, honestly, it wasn't even like you had the TJ on your shoulder, like TJ was in the car, but you didn't have the TJ on your shoulder, but really thinking about like the heightened state of emotional intelligence and awareness to be that in control. And I want to get your thoughts on something. I've talked about it before on the show, but I want to talk about, because you've had a lot of things that a lot of people pray for, that you've worked very hard for, that I know you've also prayed for. And there are times when we still take those things for granted, even though that we give them credit of when I get, then I will feel, behave, give back, be happy, whatever the thing is. So I want to lean in on just because this quote really just transformed. It's not even what quote he was on a podcast I think it's called CEO Mindset, but it's a monk that's really powerful right now. And he was talking about this, and we've talked about this, but the interviewer asked him, are you happy?
Mm-hmm.
And he said, sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And he came from a lot of different backgrounds, and obviously he has a different story, but he said he's not actually pursuing happiness, of which I think so many people are pursuing happiness or putting off happiness, call it whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
But the monk leaned back in and said, I'm choosing peace.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm actually seeking.
Yeah.
And you've alluded to that a couple of times already today. So I want to kind of talk a little bit around, like, when did you notice kind of that pursuit of whatever you were wanting?
Mm-hmm.
How did you have that, it being enough while still pursuing even more? Because I've also known you long enough to know that you've done this too.
Mm-hmm.
How have you balanced kind of that pursuit while still being in the moment and recognizing what you've currently accomplished?
Yeah, no, peace is a powerful thing. Peace is the end game for me. Peace. And I talk about this a lot. And I know I'm talking about this more and more. I talk about peace, I talk about stability, and I talk about living as drama-free life as possible. No life is drama-free. Like, that's unattainable. That's not going to happen. We've talked about that. The bad days, the bad things, all of the factors in life that are just going to impact that. And of course, I've picked a career that does nothing but impact that, right?
Right.
So it's as much as possible. So what that gets to is, what am I going to allow in? What am I going to participate in? What am I going to empower? What am I going to enable? And to do that. So sure, I've shared, I grew up on a rural Missouri farm. I didn't have resources. I didn't know I had resources for a long time. And then I'm like, oh, wait, no, I don't. And I knew that I wanted to have some level of life that I hadn't known, but I didn't know. I mean, there wasn't an end game there, right? You don't know where to stop. Oh, enough, right? What's enough? And you asked me the question tangentially about what I would have told my 35-year-old self. And I said, I would have told myself it's going to be okay. I'd still tell myself that, as I just mentioned. But at 38 years of age, I got pregnant with twins unexpectedly. And I, at that time, sort of had this, career trajectory in my mind, wink, wink, that really got derailed and defaulted, if you will, as a result of a twin pregnancy. Now, looking back on that, best thing that ever happened to me. I mean, to be able to be, I've been in compliance 30 plus years. I've been a mother for 34 plus years. And that is the biggest and best thing in my life. So to have had then this kind of trajectory where it would have been very easy to go, oh, I'm off course, to then get to that, through that, succeed at that, AKA motherhood at that age, and then have a career that ended up being bigger and beyond what I could have ever imagined. That really kind of changed the enough for me. So to answer your question, I think in part age, right? You start getting older and you start seeing things differently, and you begin to just innately understand what matters and what doesn't. And I certainly think as you start seeing people who don't necessarily get the opportunity to grow old. You hear me say this a lot. Like, I'm always of a mindset that everybody gets to be young, but not everybody gets to be old. And yes, I joke about my age, and I always say that I'm having my next 49th birthday, which I'm having again soon. As you know, we'll be actually on a gig that week together. But I'm always very mindful of what a blessing that is, what a blessing health is, and what you should do to really focus on that. So just over time, the drivers change, what matters changes, and candidly, it just gets more simple. It just gets more simple, and it boils down to just money is a thing. Money is a means to an end. Money is what we do to pay the bills and have the things, right? But it's more than that. And enough for me has truly become, as I sit here and sort of think about what's next, and what I like to call the last best chapter of my life. That's where I'm at. This one's going to be the biggest yet. This is going to be the biggest and the best chapter of my life. My career is probably going to change a little bit. I'm 100% okay with that. My children are going to grow up and evolve and go live their lives, and I'm excited to see that. I am going to figure out this relationship thing one of these days, I promise.
Never a doubt.
Um, so I think it just really does boil down to he's right. Your comment is right. Happiness is not the measure. It's peace. It's freedom. It's what that means to you. And candidly, just how much time we spend on things that don't matter. Really? Really? And you can choose to see that as a waste. Or like, oh my gosh, I wish I would have focused here. I'd have done that differently. We've talked about that, right? Like, it's so easy to say, oh, I could have talked to 35-year-old Shari and I would have said to her, don't do this, don't turn left, go, don't do that job, don't take that, stay out of that relationship, all the things. But that didn't happen. And if any of those things along the way had changed, it could have very much impacted where I ended up. And I really like where I ended up, right? Even on the bad days, bad moments, bad things. Even then, I like where I ended up. So yeah, I think the goal is peace. The goal is stability, and the goal is really analyzing yourself and how you live and how much drama you enable.
Yeah.
And how many people you empower. That's the gift.
Yeah. Well, and you have done that since the day I've met you, which has been fun for me to watch. And honestly, it's been a great role model for me to watch all these different things, and also knowing that the choices we make tend to lead to the life that we have. And oftentimes it takes some moments, hopefully not slaying moments, like you referenced earlier, but sometimes we need those moments to kind of see us and hear us right where we are and call that out. And
it's a good thing.
Yeah. Can I ask one? I want to ask one more question just sure. Before we wrap up on, did you recognize a moment, or what kind of work mentally did you have to do to go from rural Missouri, didn't have a lot, to you having as much as you have now, or whatever words we want to use? Because that was something, was something, I don't know, probably still is if I'm saying it was, something for me of like deservedness and possibility, and what I thought was possible came from what I grew up with. And how did you bridge that gap from very few resources to more resources? I'll just say that, you're very accomplished in what you're doing in your professional life. How did you kind of allow yourself, what things did you have to heal from or set down, or when did you take that chance, or I don't know, just something to kind of close that gap? Because I know a lot of people are in I only believe in what's possible for me is based on what I've known, not what I could still learn. Yeah. But you've mastered that so well, and I'm just very curious about that.
Yeah. So, wow, so many things. Do we have another hour? No, I'm kidding. First and foremost, it goes back to these mentors that I talked about. I certainly didn't have role models. And I want to be very clear. I had a very supportive family. My parents supported me to the extent that they could. So when I sort of say some of these things, I don't want the takeaway to ever be, she didn't have support, or they didn't try, or any of those things. By the way, that's also one of the things, right? Is you have to absolutely, I think, look at your parents. And certainly I hope my kids look at me and say, she did the best she could. She did the best. They did the best they could with who they were and where they were from at the time. And you've got to let that go. You've got to let that go for yourself, for them, because, they're going to age and they're going to pass, and you're going to have to deal with those things. And here, sneak peek, you're going to age and you're going to pass. So you're going to want one of those, those same moments of grace and space as well. But I think I had these role models, right, that for whatever reason, strategically placed, that just made my world bigger. They just made my world bigger. And for whatever reason, I think in part genetics, when I look back on it, I've always been this person that's like, yeah, let's go do that. Yeah, let's go do that. So there was this sort of innate kind of drive in me that still exists to this day. Now, I'm getting a little tired. It's getting a little less and less, all the things. But I do look forward to what's going to happen in this last big chapter, right? But I think that there was just always this willingness to just consume life And once I sort of got an idea, it kind of did start with that first 500-person class, that the world was big. And I saw people who were profound strategic thinkers who were wanting to effectuate change and were never okay with just status quo. I mean, I know for me, I believe the same for you. When I hear we've always done it that way, there is nothing that will light a fire in me faster than that to this day. And I'm getting ready to, not getting ready to, taking on another state in which I will be in tomorrow, where I have no time for, I have no desire for. It's going to be a lot. It's everything that everything would say no, but I'm like, oh yeah, let's go do that. So I think there was just that innate something in me. And I look at my parents and I can see where some of that came from, firstborn on a family farm, my ovaries and estrogen were of no consequence. It was go time. There were things to do. I learned a lot in that environment. I learned, I always say three things. I learned the value of a dollar. I learned this concept of hard work and burning daylight, right? Like there's only so many hours in a day and make use of them. And then of course I also knew I didn't want to live on a farm for the rest of my life, right? So, which is funny because it's really one of the most peaceful places I go to now. And I have this saying that for every week I'm in a big city, I have to spend one day there just to counteract it, right? Because I think there is still very much this rural Missouri farm girl in me that I wouldn't trade for anything. I wouldn't trade the education. I wouldn't trade any of that for where I came from and what I learned there. So I think just what you do with all that, right? I mean, there were times where I needed help. There are times that this big world got too big and I needed a little help and I had to bring in some subject matter expertise. There were times that I was a single mother with a little one who went to law school, and I sought help from a therapist, not because necessarily things were going wrong, but because things were going pretty right. And I had to get my brain around that. So I've always been a big proponent for behavioral health and mental health and seeking help when you need help, and don't suffer alone and don't be afraid, and just various times of my life, obviously relationship failures, right? Sometimes you need help to get through things. Certainly had that help with my father's long illness, and just always willing to just be the most emotionally mature person I can be, the most self-aware person I can be, and taking full accountability for that. Like everything that failed and succeeded in my life, I actively participated in. And you mentioned it. You alluded it to say, hey, we make choices along the way that you were much kinder. I'm going to nail it. Every choice we make along the way has an outcome. And it's what you do with it. It's how you change it. It's what impact it has on you. So it's a series of things along the way that have sort of made that happen. And what I do now, right, is that I enjoy helping others see the world can be bigger. And I also enjoy the others most that make my world smaller, right? Because sometimes you can get too big. And sometimes, again, when I look at where I'm at in this life, it is peace, it is stability, it is as little drama as possible. And that really takes a big, big, big world and makes it innately small and simple. And that's where I like to live these days. So probably full circle, right?
Yeah.
But what a ride. And I'm not done yet. Best is yet to come. Always.
Yeah.
Always.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, and there's so much to, again, so many people listening. It doesn't matter where they are in their life. Like just go back. I don't know how many minutes that was, but go back that many minutes and hear Shari say that again. She didn't use the word luck. She didn't use the word, she didn't say, I don't know. Go back and listen to that again, because there's a lot there that I'm still processing as I'm trying to communicate words right now. But really understanding there's so much intentionality behind it. And if you feel like that thing inside of you of, I know that I'm meant to do something. I know I could do something. I know I want to provide more for my family. I know I want to have a healthier life. I know I want to feel a different way. Sometimes it starts with one, knowing you don't have to do it by yourself. Mm-hmm. It starts with be around more people who are where you want to be, mm-hmm. and you'll start to see that the gap is not as big as you think it is. Mm-hmm. And again, we've talked about small circles, very, very small circles, because of the depth of vulnerability, mm-hmm. humility, generosity, just connection. That's why my circle is typically very small, is just because I want to be able to give more of myself to fewer people, mm-hmm. but I want to be able to give all of me to everyone, mm-hmm. but not at the expense of how much I want to give to the people that I love the most, I'm the most grateful for. And again, that's something you've been showing me and teaching me, is you can have both, mm-hmm. But very much intention behind both. So you said earlier that I've maybe taught you more than you've taught me, and you just don't know how much you've taught me. So that's not a fair statement, but yeah. So,
well, ditto.
No. Yeah.
One thing, I would like to add one thing if I could. So, I got in these circles of which you speak, these, very successful, very well educated, very well paid. I'm always, to this day, sometimes I'm still in awe when I'm sitting in a group of people that just are profound thinkers and game changers for an entire nationwide industry. But do you know what I know about those people? They're just people. Mm. Each and every person worked hard, got there, earned it, probably smattered it with some education of some kind, kept driving, kept doing, probably are practicing some form of maintenance. Maybe they're not diehard gratitude people like we are, but I have a plan, and I do it, and we'll keep doing it to mm-hmm. bring you in every room like that, to equip as many people as we can with that. But they're also just people doing the best they can every day. And I think once you realize that wherever you come from and wherever you are, as you're thinking about what I want to do, or I may want to do, or I'm not quite sure yet, just knowing that at the end of the day, everybody's trying to do their level best. You can be anywhere you want to be. It's not luck. It's preparation meeting opportunity. You can be anywhere you want to be. And don't ever forget that or come off of that, most particularly in your alone and quiet moments. And again, if you can't do it quite yet, find somebody who will see that in you until you can. One of the most powerful things you did at a most recent setting that I had you in, which I'll have you in again soon, and I will get you to my next state if it's the last thing I do. I want you to share it because I don't want to botch it, but you sort of made the whole room kind of stop and text somebody that mattered to them. Would you talk a little bit about that? Because that's celebrating the people that have been there for you. And I think everybody just kind of needs to look at their contact list, as you said in the very, very beginning of this. We all have those people. We may not just know that, or we may not know who we're influencing. And again, you say I've taught you more than you've taught me. You can still learn in every single one of those scenarios. So talk about that, if you would.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's actually I appreciate you bringing that up. And honestly, it's one of the most powerful things that I do. So I have the opportunity to be on some pretty big stages, and I still do it then. But one thing, every time I get the opportunity to speak, is I find a way to weave in, because again, nobody's doing anything on their own, whether it's success or overcoming anything, mm-hmm. or living life. Mm-hmm. And sometimes we need the reminder of what's the most important thing. And so every time I speak, whether it's a room of 5 or 5,000, it's the question is, or the task, the moment we all pause, is have everybody take their phone out and text one person in their life, I'm grateful for you, and why. Mm-hmm. And the magic in those moments, or the emotion in the moments, is the room is dead silent.
And largely confused, right?
Correct. Everybody does it. Mm-hmm. Everybody does the messaging. Mm-hmm. Nobody says, what do you mean? Right. Nobody says, so who? Mm-hmm. Nobody says anything other than they get their phone out. Nobody does anything other than get their phone out. Mm-hmm. they automatically think of somebody. That's how close we are.
Mm-hmm.
And they already know why they're grateful for them.
Mm-hmm.
There's no confused, deep thinking, pondering looks around the room. Nobody's looking at somebody else's phone to say, well, what are you doing? I don't want to mess this up.
Right.
That's all the information I give them.
Yep.
And then what happens, and still what happened,
Yep.
is emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Understanding and recognizing that we've maybe forgotten to send that message
Mm-hmm.
to that person more than we wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's emotional. Sometimes people get upset because the people that they messaged will message back. Sometimes.
Yeah.
Maybe not right away, but sometimes. And the most powerful thing is most of the time when people send a message like that, they'll get messages back from their family, friends, loved ones, whoever they sent it to. And the message that they get back is, are you okay?
Right.
Or is something wrong? Or do you need something?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times when wives send it to husbands, they say, what do you want? What are you trying to get from me? Right. But sometimes it's that message back
Mm-hmm.
of, I love you too.
Mm-hmm.
It's the message back of, I'm grateful for you. You've changed my life. They respond back with gratitude. I've never had anyone respond back with, you're welcome.
Mm.
Because when you say gratitude in that way, in an unexpected moment, it changes both people, the sender and the receiver.
Mm-hmm.
And it creates this energy within of, oh yeah, like the people and the things that mean the most to me, I've maybe not taken the time to do that. And it only takes 30 seconds to do.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing that gets talked about the most after I finish speaking is people tell me, here's what they said to me. And here's what, and the thing is, they say it's exactly what they needed to hear, the sender. It's exactly what they needed to hear in the moment to build a better connection with the person that they sent it to.
Yeah, it's powerful. It's powerful. The confusion comes in the simplicity of it. But you're right.
Yep.
I got to witness it. People stopping, people doing exactly what you asked, and talking then again about the responses that come in return. Powerful.
Yeah. I don't really talk about that much on here. I think this is the first time I've ever even talked about it here. So thank you for that moment.
Sure.
Coming to, I honestly, we go to dinners and we've talked many times for hours on end, and we forget what day it is and what time it is. And we typically close every place that we go to, because everything that you say makes me think, and I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
And the space that we have is also just a sharing space. It's not a proving space,
Mm-hmm.
which is also something I cherish and I appreciate it. I don't have to lose it in order to recognize it and appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
This podcast is no different. We didn't sit down with a list of questions to make sure that we talked. I mean, we talked about some general things just to kind of make sure we were kind of creating a safe space. But yeah, this is just two people coming together to share life, to share messages, to share wisdom. Really, it's lived experiences. That's what this whole show, this whole Living the Sweet Life thing is all about. Is it's not about living anything like my life. It's just about living your life, but maybe seeing it a bit sweeter. And whether it's a sweet tea on your shoulder, or maybe it's a gratitude practice, or maybe it's an eye roll because I'm going to ask how your day's going. And maybe somebody in your life's going to ask how your day's going. And then that's your next moment to respond in a way that you're proud of.
Yeah.
And to respond in a way that actually builds connection. And whether it's a text message and we say, how are we doing? Neither one of us say, good, you.
Right.
We both create the space. And that's the thing about connection is you actually, once you create the space, it kind of becomes that. And then you are willing to be more vulnerable and share kind of how you're actually doing and how people can show up for each other. And there are times when, we message and talk more often. Sometimes we don't do that for a while, but it never feels like it's been a while. And, but we also pay attention to each other enough via social media and via just life in general. And just check-ins to say like, okay, like things are going good.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's my friendship with you is meaningful for me. It's significant for me. Mm-hmm. It's impactful for me. And so I greatly appreciate you being you. Being here. This is a long time coming. And I cannot wait for the world to hear this episode, to hear you, to just their life will be better because of it. And I hope you always know that. And I will be tagging you in a lot of things. So you're just going to have to roll with that.
Okay. Thanks for the warning.
Yeah. Fair warning. So, but honestly, I appreciate who you are as a person and how you've shown up for me in my life. And I promise to continue to do the same for you and every opportunity that I get, and just always know that that you matter to me and our friendship matters to me. And I look forward to all of the amazing things that I get to see you do and get to come alongside and so all good things. So I appreciate you being here, and we'll get this out to the world.
Fair enough. Well, I appreciate being here. So I appreciate being a part of this audience. I appreciate the opportunity to talk about this topic anytime, anywhere. We should not wait another decade to do it again. And of course, appreciate you. Yeah. Grateful for you. Glad you're on my mountain. Hope you stay there. And we're not done yet. We got tons of things left to do. I can't wait to see what my last best chapter looks like. And you still have way more chapters than that to go. So it's going to be fun. Yeah. And I'm in it to win it. And we're going to see where it goes. Yeah,
same. We've just pulled the arrow back.
Yep.
We're ready to launch.
That's right. That's right.
All right. Well, thank you very much. And keep living the sweet life, and hope that little sweet tea isn't too annoying on your shoulder. So, yeah.
I'm used to him. He's just the constant. We're in it to win it.
Sure. That's right. That's right. All right. Well, thank you very much. And everybody, I don't normally remind people of this, but after this episode, I'm going to. Shari helped me remember that you always have the power and the choice to reshape your mindset anytime. The power of living with intention and looking at the world through that grateful lens. Like we haven't talked about a lot at the end of these episodes like we used to, but you've elegantly touched on all three of those things. And so perfect way to end this episode with you. So thank you very much.
Thank you.